A few. A few. Let's get into it. A few good movies. A few. A good. A few. Good. A few. Let's get into it. A few good movies.
You guys, it's really nice to see your faces.
Yeah.
Your lovely faces.
Yeah.
This is a fun experiment we're trying here.
I think it'll be fun. I like this.
Is this what you guys look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I took a shower today, so I'm good to go.
Yeah, I showered
I know.
before this.
I comb my hair for the first time in months.
Yeah.
You honestly, like outside of the frames that you see here, it is a disaster zone. You have no idea.
Same
I'm
here.
keeping this set together with like chewing gum and Scotch tape. So I'm glad that it's all working out though.
Yeah, I'm like in my living room. If anyone's ever been to my house, you guys all have. I'm in
Every
like my
listener
living
has
room.
been to your house.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm in my living room facing my kitchen. It's the most. I have like a side table set up, and it's insane.
Well, I mean, this is going to be fun because now we've really doubled the amount of work. We're visual and we're audio. It's really we're really giving ourselves more work.
Well, I mean, I think it's cool because how often do you get to see podcasts?
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome everyone to this first mini episode of A Few Good Movies.
Yeah.
I'm Zach Dehm, and with me is Chris Porto
How you doing?
and
might be
Samer Esmail.
This is probably
Hey,
the first
what's
time
up?
people have seen us.
Yes, let's try that again.
Yeah, do it again. Wait, you can't edit it.
I'm gonna. Don't you? I'll figure it out.
Oh,
Welcome everyone to this first mini episode of A Few Good Movies. I'm Zach Dehm, and with me is Chris Porto.
Hello. I was saying before, this is probably the first time a lot of people have seen us. If you
Other
don't
than
know
that
us,
poster.
and I am sorry.
And also with us is Samer Esmail.
Hey, what's up? I think a lot of our listeners probably have seen us and met us and hung out with us
For
many
now.
times. For now, yeah.
One day we'll get a stranger that's a fan.
Maybe.
So, just a little brief description of what you'll expect from these mini episodes. They're going to be short and sweet, and really, it's just an opportunity for us to discuss, kind of currently what we're all watching, listening to, reading, what have you. As well as a preview of what next week's podcast will be. So it's going to be fun. Anyway, why don't we get started? What have you guys been watching and listening to and reading these days? Why don't we start with Samer?
Oh, okay. So, I haven't been watching a lot of movies or TV. Well, you know what? I take that back. I've been watching Lovecraft Country, and I've seen the first 2 episodes. It's insane. It's intense. The production quality is amazing. And it's just a fun show. I recommend it. But mainly, and this is the thing that I look forward to every day. It feels like NFL Sunday every day, but NBA playoffs has been nonstop action. Every single game is like comes to the last second, and it's just amazing. Last night's last night was
Was it the Celtics game?
Yeah, the Celtics Toronto game, the inbound pass for the 3. And I hate the Celtics, so it was beautiful.
Oh my. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I like the Celtics, but I did see that highlight. I've just been watching highlights, but they have really figured out. They really have sort of figured out this whole no crowd, quarantine basketball sports thing. They've made it work.
I think
What
so.
are they doing?
Well, it's
Just
interesting.
no crowd?
No
no one's in
crowd,
crowds.
but there's like virtual crowds and
Okay.
and like they pump in noise and stuff. Not crowd noise, but like music and sounds and stuff.
Just giving it the feel of a real
And like
event.
the people on the bench are cheering and the coaches are yelling. And like if you ever notice, like when you watch it, there's like audio dips because they're just fucking cursing all the time. that ABC or TNT or whatever has to be like, all right, we have to do an audio dip.
Whoever that guy is that's in charge of censoring is like gotta be making overtime right now because it's so much worse than it usually is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So every sport's a little different, but basketball actually has a wall of fans being displayed as if like a video chat.
Right.
Baseball just has cardboard cutouts or their virtual crowd, like a video game,
which is only on TV. They can't see it, right? The players can't see it.
Right. Players can't enjoy that.
Right.
But I think I read that wrestling, like WWE, is doing something called like Thunderdome or something like that.
What is
where
that?
It's like a huge, it's sort of like the NBA, but it's a huge like round screen all the way around the arena with just a ton of people like streaming in like
I've seen pictures
chat.
of this and it looks awesome. It looks like a dystopian like sci-fi film.
I love it, but the lag, the part that bothers me is the lag. Like there's no way for people to react in real time. So like people reacting 10 seconds after something happens, it's kind of so weird.
I mean, is it better than just silence?
No, I think that what it is now is totally acceptable.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
given the circumstances, obviously.
Yeah. Speaking of Lovecraft Country or County, I can never remember.
Country.
Lovecraft Country, very good show. It's gotten me to subscribe to HBO.
HBO Max.
HBO Max. And while I was on there, I decided to finally check out Dr. Sleep, which I'd been meaning to do for a while. And I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed that one. Have you guys seen it?
I have not.
So Chris, Samer, I would recommend it. Did you like it, Chris?
I did like it. I liked it quite a bit. I didn't know anything about the story going into it other than it was a sequel to The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually surprised by what kind of film it was. People with like all these people with supernatural powers, and I thought it was cool. I liked all the Shining callbacks, when they go back to the hotel.
Yeah. Ooh, well, don't give too much away.
Yeah.
These are current movies. I feel bad giving too much away, but I agree with you. Like it was fun the way they handled interweaving the original movie with the new story.
Yeah.
But it did feel like a lot more of a linear story that followed some kind of logic, and you knew who the bad guys were, and you knew how they could be defeated.
Are you saying it was formulaic?
Not formulaic, but like The Shining is almost cosmic. I was thinking about this.
Ooh.
Almost cosmic in its portrayal of sort of this evil house.
Right.
And these things, you never really get a full understanding of how they work or what is going on. But I feel like this, in Dr. Sleep anyway, there's more of an explanation to all that stuff. And it takes away some of the mystique and the mystery and like the weight of The Shining. Like it just feels like it's such an elevated sort of world you're in The Shining, and it doesn't feel quite the same in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, and it's not nearly as terrifying either.
It's got its moments, but yeah, it isn't the same kind of terrifying.
Right.
But in its own right, it's a movie that is enjoyable and fun. And I put it on at like 1 a.m. just because I felt like watching a movie at 1, not realizing the director's cut was 3 hours long.
Oh,
and
boy.
I watched it. I stayed up and watched all 3 hours. I never dozed off. It was interesting the whole time.
It's not even like a slow 3 hours. I think they pack so much into that storyline.
It could have been a series.
Yeah,
probably.
totally.
It's got that much stuff going on.
So in comparison to the other reboots of Stephen King movies, how does it compare to It or Pet Sematary? Or
Pet
I guess
Sematary's not good.
That one's not good. I wasn't a fan of. I mean, It too wasn't great at all. The first one was like okay, like it set up a nice story.
I like the first one a lot. I'm actually, I don't hate the second one. I think I am looking forward to the director's cuts that are supposedly coming.
Oh boy,
yeah.
It feels like every
the
time
book's like 10,000 pages long.
Well, it feels like every time like a movie comes out that's bad, everyone wants the director's cut, thinking that'll salvage it in some way. And I'm like, guys,
it just makes it longer.
Well, I guess what did you not like about it?
It was nonsense. It wasn't a story. It was just like
the second It too?
Chapter 2. Yeah. It just wasn't like it wasn't a story. It was just like, here's a few scenes with this character, here's a few scenes with this character. And it's like they're all overcoming fear. And then at the end, the battle, I mean, I don't want to give much away because it is I guess it's not that new, but it's fairly new. But the end battle where they're yelling at the clown is like, come on, guys.
I will say it just felt a bit of a repeat of the first movie's plot. It didn't go.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. And some of it felt, now that I'm thinking about it, like video game logic.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
that's probably why I enjoyed it.
You have this task, and now each of you will go do that task.
Yeah, the quests. They have like fetch quests.
Right. And I guess it wasn't. It didn't.
Speaking of video
those
games,
kind of movies, but I didn't do it for me.
Speaking of video games, I've actually replayed Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. If anyone is old enough to remember those games, but that game has such a great story. I mean, it does get off on its own little tangent a bit, but that game has such a cohesive story and time travel, and like it's definitely like ripping off Back to the Future a bit, but it's such a great story that, you know, and I'm like gonna replay it because the story is so great. Have you guys ever
played
the Future? Boom. Back to the Future.
You know what? I will say I've never seen Tim Curry's It. Tim Curry? Yeah. I've never seen that, and now I've heard that's awful too, though. But I'm curious, just because it's the original. You know, I guess the book is the original, but it's the original movie version. Or I guess it wasn't even a movie; it was a TV series.
It was made
right?
for TV. It's a miniseries.
Oh, okay.
So none of us have seen that version of it, have we?
I've seen it.
Chris, you've seen it. Okay,
I've seen everything.
No,
that's a lie. No, I mean it is a product of its time. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
And Tim Curry is a really good Pennywise. He's always good.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
I know he's a good Pennywise, but is he better than Skarsgård?
I mean, it's
one of the Skarsgård.
Is it Skarsgård or is Skarsgård?
Bill Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, there's not as much of Pennywise in that original movie, whereas
really?
Whereas the new one kind of almost makes it feel like it's a Pennywise movie.
It's his
The
That's
Pennywise cinematic universe.
That's interesting because it does feel like he's the main character, but it isn't necessarily Pennywise, right? Like it could be anything.
Yeah, it can be anything.
Right.
And I think people complained in the second one that there wasn't enough Pennywise, but it's like he's all over that movie.
Yeah.
I think.
In every form that's ridiculous. The old woman. Isn't he like a
There's some
car
weird shit in there. A car?
Maybe I saw it when it came out, which was I guess last October.
Yeah.
And I remember like halfway through the movie wanting to just leave, but
I think we're confusing the first and second movie too because they're so similar that I could easily confuse things that happened in 1 and 2.
Oh.
Does anybody else? I feel like...
Well, I remember the Chinese restaurant scene.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, the second one, the first one doesn't have adults in it, so...
Right.
Right. But they have flashbacks of the stuff from childhood, right?
Yeah, in the second
Probably.
one.
Right. Well, has anybody seen any other Stephen King things since we're on the topic?
I mean, Pet Sematary, the reboot was pretty bad. Although I don't remember seeing the original anyway. So
The original is better. I don't think
sure.
either of them are great.
Yeah.
The new ones, it's like one of those movies that just exists. It's fine. It's not gonna like waste your time that much, but
Right.
I wouldn't recommend it either. It's just there.
Fair
Stephen
enough.
King's kind of a dud, besides The Shining, in my opinion. Right?
I feel like
I wouldn't
I
go
think
that
it's
far.
hard to adapt his work into films because you have limited amount of time.
Yeah.
His novels are so dense.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of them work better as miniseries. I'm looking forward to The Stand that's coming out. They just released a trailer for that, and that looks pretty cool.
Oh, that's right.
That's CBS All Access exclusive.
There's a lot of good trailers out right now.
Yeah,
I just saw there's a new trailer for James Bond
there is. It just came out
Ooh.
yesterday.
with
It
more
looks
Rami.
very good.
More Rami
Yeah.
in that one. And then
Ava
of course you have.
de Armas.
Is that his character name?
No.
Ana de Armas,
That's Ana de Armas. That's that's the Bond girl.
Oh,
one of them.
got it.
One of them, I guess. I'm so excited for this. Was like the movie I was most excited to see pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then when they pushed it back, I was like, geez, now I have to wait. And like thinking it would come back at some point in the summer, and now it's November, or I
Right.
mean it's September now, but it'll come out in November, and I'm not even sure if I'll be able to get to see it in a theater because of how
I
LA.
wouldn't even bother. It's so funny to think that we would have already seen this, 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Mulan came out today, or is coming
There's a
out.
question: who is going to buy Mulan for $30 right now? I'm just curious.
I wouldn't personally just buy it on my own. I'm sharing a Disney Plus account with some friends, and I'm sure if we all chipped in, I think it's supposed.
Disney will get you.
Disney's
I think
hand
they
is on the
encourage
missile.
it. Yeah. But yeah, so I would chip in $5 to see it and consider it a movie ticket to see
Now I
a
was
Disney
I was
movie.
reading the fine print. It will become available on Disney Plus for free in December, as if then it becomes like your home video release.
Right.
Yeah,
I think I'm more inclined to just wait until December and then watch it.
same.
Yeah, you've waited this long. Why not wait a couple more months?
I'm already
but-
paying 15 whatever it is a month for Disney Plus. Like,
Yeah, 7.
It's 7. Yeah.
I think we're in like
it's
a really
$7?
yeah, it's
Apparently.
$7 a month.
I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
We're in like such an interesting time for being film fans because obviously all these companies are thinking like, how are we going to get these movies out and make some money back? So like last week we had Bill and Ted released on VOD. I think it was in theaters. It was in like 2,000 theaters or something.
Yeah.
But they released it on VOD as a digital rental or a purchase, and I bought it outright for $25, which I think is the smart thing to do. I don't really know why Disney is having a $30 rental. I think they probably think they'll get away with it, which they probably will get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if I'm going to pay $30, I want to maybe own the movie after the $30 instead of just
Wait a
renting
second.
it.
Is it $30 and you rent it for a day or 2 days, or whatever the rental?
I don't
thing
know.
is?
Normally on iTunes, when you rent something, you have 48 hours to watch it after you start watching it.
Right, but this is Disney Plus, so I thought
Yeah.
it was you have $30 and you just get the movie now in your Disney Plus catalog instead of waiting for December. That's my understanding.
I think it's a rental because they don't even
Oh.
have I wouldn't know how they would have purchases in
They
their
call
app.
it they call it like
Oh,
Premiere, joining like the Premiere something.
yeah,
or other.
Yeah,
Premier
it's so-
Access.
It is very confusing because I clicked on it today and it says Premiere Access, click here, and then it's just like, click this button for a one-time $30 purchase.
Right.
So it's not Premiere is a tier of Disney Plus.
It's only going to work for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
But I don't think they mean one time as in they're going to charge you one time.
Yeah.
But you probably have access to it forever.
But I think it's a
would
rental.
think so.
Maybe someone can tell us if it is or it isn't. But someone that actually rents
in the comments, just go to the comments.
Well, so I guess that's
tell us if you're going to spend money to see it now or wait.
It's an important consideration because I mean, if you were to buy it for your kids often see the same. I mean, I remember as a kid seeing the same movie over and over again. Rookie of the Year, Lion King. But if you're an adult and you have to shell $30 every time your kid wants to see live action Mulan, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you just get it. You just pay $30. You get it now instead of waiting for December.
Maybe.
That's what I think.
I think it's a short-term rental.
Back to Bill and Ted.
Who is right?
What did we think of Bill and Ted? Because I saw it too.
Did you
I
really?
haven't seen it.
Yeah, I watched
You didn't tell me this.
I saved it for right now.
So,
Surprise.
nice. Surprise. so I could be caught off guard. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. I don't want to tell you what I thought of it.
All right. I didn't love it, but I did like it. And I think it is better than the second movie.
Oh my God. Who are you? No.
I swear, I rewatched the second movie before I watched this. Well, I rewatched both of them.
Yeah.
I think the first one's a genuine classic. It's so good. The second one is just so weird.
What?
The
second one is outstanding. The first one's pretty good. I love the second one.
Wow.
I would honestly rank it 2, 3, 1, honestly.
Are you kidding me?
That's my hot take.
These are a lot of hot takes.
All right.
I have not seen any of them. And
Ever. You should really.
I was never really a big fan of like goofy comedies like that. I mean, like what are you like Dumb and Dumber comedies? What do you call those? Goofy.
It's like a stoner comedy.
But they're not I remember Keanu Reeves coming out and saying that they're not stoners. Or
yeah, but
did.
for lack of a better term, that's what they act like.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I mean, so you have them, you have Dude, Where's My Car? And then you
they're actual stoners. Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Did you throw Wayne's World in there?
Yeah,
for
sure.
I think that fits.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like Wayne's World, but because of the way they made it is interesting.
This could be a whole category we do. Stoner comedy.
I mean, Seth Rogen. I mean, Pineapple Express and whatnot.
I think stoner comedy. I mean, this seems like this could go either way, but you don't necessarily have to have drugs in the movie to be a stoner comedy.
Right.
If we're going off the way we're describing it right now.
You just kind of have to be dumb, which is far-fetched because I know a lot of stoners who are really smart.
Or
shout out
stoners. Is a stoner comedy? Could it also be like a movie that you would enjoy while you're stoned?
Sure.
Well,
instead of there being drugs in the movie.
I guess that could be very broad if you take it that way.
Yeah. Well, I can enjoy
comedies that are more fun.
I mean, you could enjoy a lot of movies stoned that you can enjoy sober as well, but
right, but I wonder this is a good question we'll have to think more on is what is the quintessential nature of stoner comedies that make them stoner
they have
comedies,
to be
other
kind
than
of,
the drug use.
I think they kind of have to be like dumb and aloof and just kind of like dumb. Dumb and Dumber.
I don't think Dumb and Dumber has ever been called a stoner comedy though, interestingly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Has it? It's just, what would they be called? An oddball comedy. A
that's
comedy.
True. Okay.
That's more. We just figured it out in our head.
Figured
it out. Congratulations, everyone watching this. You've just discovered us just realizing what a new genre we didn't think of before. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
We went off on a wild tangent there.
Yes.
So what did you think? Why do you rank it higher than the original, which is interesting to me?
I don't know. The original, I just remember always liking 2 so much more than 1. And Chris, I'm surprised to hear you say it because 2 has death in it, and I thought you were really a William Sadler fan.
I do. I love Death, and I loved him in 3. I thought he was,
I wish I saw more of him.
Same as he ever was.
I know.
Yeah, there wasn't enough of him.
I wish there was more of him. It had a lot of similar elements in 2 and 3. I mean, look, it did what every kind of long-awaited sequel does, is that it kind of pays fan service to all the things that you liked about the originals. But in doing so, it's not really treading a lot of new ground. I mean, it does some fun things, but it's just sort of like lighthearted fun, some goofy jokes.
Yeah.
You'll leave with a smile on your face, but I can't say that like it's better than the other 2 or great.
I can't imagine it would be. Oftentimes these types of movies that are reboots of like classic movies, they never like, they kind of just scratch the nostalgia itch and never really become good. I mean, maybe there's one out there that's actually good. I'm trying to think of one.
It just it serves its purpose.
I think time will tell on this. Like, will we even think about it in a couple of years? Whereas we still think about maybe the original one. Who knows?
Why do you think 1 is better than 2, Chris?
Boy,
I just think
now become the
Bill
and Ted debate.
One is funnier. One is, I think, more cohesive. I don't know. 2 is. I like them both. I'm not saying I don't like 2.
I can't remember any specific jokes from 1, but I can like pop off so many references from 2. Well, I have seen 2 more recently, but not only do you have death and all that fun in like when they're in hell, but you also have Station, which is like something that they even say in 3.
Yeah,
and that's a hilarious character.
What the hell even is Station?
That's the point. That's the beauty of it.
It's a cool effect.
I also love how in 3 they tried to make that robot character this movie's Station, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
Like an adorably lovable side character.
I thought he was good. They didn't overplay him, because if it was in there any longer, I would have been sick of it.
They really they walked that fine line. Samer, there's a character that is basically like a robot killer sent to like take out Bill and Ted, but his name is Dennis, which is kind of hilarious on its own, and like he just becomes a very like emotional person.
Yeah,
emotional robot.
Lovable kind of touchy-feely robot.
Yeah, it's a fun twist.
He just wants to be part of the band.
Yeah. Samer, I really want you to just binge all 3, please.
This definitely sounds like stoner comedy.
I will say this though.
Do a Samer takeover of our Twitter and just live tweet it.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll consider it.
My number one thing for the new movie is I cannot believe how good Alex Winters still is in that role. Like,
yeah,
holy cow, he hasn't acted in a film in probably 20 some years.
Yeah,
he's become like an award-winning documentary filmmaker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's in Bill and Ted 3 out of nowhere, and I think he did a better job than Keanu, to be honest.
For sure. I think, everyone, God bless him, Keanu is always good and everyone loves him.
Yeah.
And he deserves all the praise in the world.
Yeah.
He's grown out of this role. It's not like, I just don't think, it doesn't ring true, but I mean, it's kind of more remarkable that Alex Winter, is that his name?
Yeah.
That he somehow was able to still find that character at this age,
right,
and do it. It's more remarkable for that to be the case than it is shocking that Keanu it isn't working anymore, because it really shouldn't work. It's weird to play, teenage stoners in your like 40s and 50s.
Right. And he's killed like 5,000 people since the original movie, so that takes a toll on a man.
So are they still teenagers in the movie?
No, they're 50-something-year-old adults.
They're still kind of acting the same. Well, they have the same mannerisms.
Okay. So I just thought of like a great reboot that I just remembered, and it's on Netflix now. It used to be on YouTube Red, which is I think YouTube Premium now.
I know where you're going with
Cobra
this.
Kai is one of the greatest shows ever made. I'm
surprised to hear you say
that. That's another hot take from Samer today.
I want to watch it. I really do. And
it's awesome, and it's on Netflix. It's just so much fun. It's not the greatest show, obviously, but it is so much fun, and it doesn't just itch the nostalgia, but it tells a new story, and it's interesting how everything is laid out. It's kind of from a different perspective on the whole Karate Kid movies.
Yeah,
I have yet to see it, but I watched a little like super cut of the bad guy, or I don't know if he's the bad guy in the context of this, but the blonde guy from the original
Johnny
movie.
Yeah,
and it sounds like he's hilarious. Like,
he's awesome.
A lot of funny one-liners.
Yeah,
in this show. Well, I think I'll have to check that out then, because that's resounding.
Do that.
Praise.
I'll live tweet that. That's even better.
Chris, we haven't gotten to you yet, though. Any interesting things you've seen or bought?
If we have time,
let's keep it. We don't have that much time, so we got to keep it quick.
Well, so 2 weekends ago, DC had that Fandom conference online. I don't know if you guys were privy to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they showed off upcoming video games, upcoming movies. That's where the Batman trailer dropped, and so I went back and I was kind of like, I'm gonna give these DC shows another chance. I can't really get into the CW shows. I tried to watch Batwoman and it's pretty god awful. That's the one.
I didn't know that existed.
Exactly. But I did watch Stargirl. I binged the whole thing, 13 episodes, and it's very good. And now I'm watching Titans and Doom Patrol. I'm kind of juggling both of those. And so far they're excellent.
Nice.
And they're like more R-rated than like the soap opera CW stuff, and that's kind of why I can't get into those shows.
Where are they streaming?
I have Titans on Blu-ray. I think they stream on the WB app. They used to be on that DC Universe app, but I think that's no longer a thing. So yeah, those are made for streaming, those shows.
I thought WB shows were on HBO Max. Is it on HBO Max?
I don't know if they've absorbed all of that. It could very well be, but I think you guys would be into Doom Patrol. It's out there. It's like,
okay,
it's cool. Brendan Fraser plays a robot. It's a pretty awesome voice acting job from him.
So these are comic book superhero things.
Yeah.
There's just so many.
Sound like an old man, Zach.
There's so many of them. I can't
There's
keep
so
up.
many.
Yeah, I refuse to keep up.
Flooded.
There's so many, in fact, that we might have something coming up here on our next episode.
Was that a segue, Chris?
That was a segue.
All right, before we get into that, is that the last thing you want to?
Yeah, I have not been watching any movies except for Bill and Ted, and some other shit I don't want to talk about.
Okay, adult
movies.
Speaking of superheroes, well then in that case, speaking of superheroes, it is time to announce the topic for our next episode, and I chose the topic this week, and it is off-brand superheroes. So that essentially means picking movies that are not Marvel and not DC. So outside of like the mainstream superhero movies that have been very prevalent in the last 10 to 15 years, we wanted to find sort of independent or unique superhero movies.
Yeah.
And as you'll find when you listen, they are not even based on comic books.
Yeah, and we even went as far as not based. We didn't have to, but we didn't base any of ours on comic books. And so what we're going to do is we're going to announce the films that we've each picked. That'll give you guys all watching a chance to watch if you want to play along with us. and watch the movies in advance. That way,
Do they win a
spoiled.
prize?
Watch all the movie. Watch all the movies. Create your own arguments, and then listen to us, and then argue along with us.
Yeah, just
There you
follow
go.
along.
Yeah.
It's like follow along with us, man. And that will make our conversations on the podcast make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If you've already seen them. And I've actually found if you haven't seen the movies in a long time even or a while, revisiting them is actually quite interesting too. So even if you're like, I've seen whatever, you may want to think about just giving another watch. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So why don't we just say which movies we are? Why don't Chris, you go first.
My film is James Gunn's Super.
Nice. Anything you want to say about it?
Well, you'll have to listen to the episode.
Stars Rainn Wilson.
It stars
Ellen
Rainn
Page.
Wilson. Yeah.
It's
Ellen
an
Page.
R-rated movie, and it's got quite some violence in it, if I recall.
Bring it.
Oh, boy.
Show the kids.
Yeah.
Do not
Kids
show
love
the
superheroes,
kids.
right?
Fair warning.
We're not
and
liable.
then, Samer, what do you pick?
I picked M. Night Shyamalan's, I think his best film, Unbreakable, with Bruce Willis.
It's really good.
Sam Jackson. It's the beginning of the quote unquote trilogy, but I think it's the only one worth really watching.
Yeah. And I've always loved that movie. I think it's one of his best, if not maybe his best.
Yeah.
Perhaps underrated compared to Sixth Sense. Certainly probably overrated compared to some of his later work.
Which were not rated at all.
Which
Yeah,
not rated at all.
Oh, by the way, there's a show that I'm going to watch because I keep seeing posts about it. The Servant, which I think is
The Servant.
Yeah, and M. Night Shyamalan's. He's a showrunner, or maybe he directed a few episodes. I'm not sure, but it seems interesting. It's on Apple Plus, which I've only used once or twice. So
I'm not sure if I'm going to get an Apple Plus account for it.
Well, if you have an Apple product, they give you a year for free, and I have
gotta
tons
look
of
into
those. Yeah, check your emails. But there's not much on the Apple Plus channel. I'm bummed about.
Right. It's the whole landscape of streaming services is really getting interesting.
It's a vast wasteland.
It really is. It's getting weird, and it'll all figure itself out over time. But right now, it is sort of the Wild West, a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of is. It's just such new territory. They'll figure it out. So then, my pick for this episode will be Sky High, and for those that don't remember, there's a movie that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's a Disney movie. And I will argue for why it is actually a very underrated Disney movie, particularly because of the casting.
Now, you've used underrated and overrated a bunch. Are you saying
Have
it?
I?
Well, you said the M. Night Shyamalan later movies are over or underrated compared to Unbreakable. Is that what you were suggesting?
I think that Unbreakable is an underrated movie for sure.
It is. Okay. But
and I'm also saying that Sky High is underrated too, because I think that it is far better than people may remember or give it credit for.
But do you think
underrated
it's
and underseen, I would say.
Underseen.
Right, but do you think it's like as good as like all the other Disney, like Mulan and Lion King and Aladdin, the classic ones, or is it like
the animated
You're
ones?
putting me on the spot here because that's a big claim.
Well,
to
you
make.
said it was
the
underrated compared to Disney.
Disney
is.
live action and Disney animated. You have to kind of separate the two.
And
It's
Pixar,
just
I
underrated
believe, you should
compared
separate.
to itself. I don't know. It's just I think
Okay.
I'm just trying. Look, I'm trying to spread the love for this movie, trying to get people to go out and rent it and see it and realize that it's better than they probably think it is because of the cast.
Or they've never even
among
heard of
other
it.
things. Yeah. So those are our picks. Please watch them if you have a chance to, and please listen to our episode, which will be airing which will be coming out next Monday. You guys have anything else before we wrap this episode up?
You know what? Just 2 documentaries I suggest people watch, especially because the election is coming up. But Boys State, which is on Apple Plus, you can get it somehow. But Boys State's a really fascinating story about this program in Texas where kids basically, they basically turn into they make campaigns for each other and pit against each other and try to win governor and other positions in office. It's fascinating. And then there's The Swamp, which is on HBO Max, about Trump's attempt to drain the swamp, which is pretty interesting and fascinating. And it's interesting how they define what the swamp is. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, why don't we end like we usually would? Samer, can you give us the lowdown on where everyone can find us on social media?
So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now YouTube, obviously, if you're watching
We're on
this.
there in the YouTube.
We're all
made it.
A Few Good Movies Pod or A Few Good Movies P, depending on the service. I think Twitter has a 15-character limit, so it's A Few Good Movies P. And but everywhere else
The
it's
letter
A Few Good
P,
Movie Pod.
not
Yeah,
the urine.
right. P, the letter.
Just the letter P.
Yeah, check us out, subscribe, retweet, comment. We want to hear from you guys, so feel free to say whatever you want.
Yes, always let us know what you think of our picks and suggest new topics for us to maybe get into later in the season.
I've already gotten a few interesting suggestions, and I'm excited. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll explore all of those. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thanks everyone for listening and watching for the first time. And we will see you next time on A Few Good Movies.
See ya.
Bye.